When you think of radio, you probably think of radio broadcasts that play music. And I even discussed radio as a method of listening to music in a recent video. But there's a little more to radio than that. Do you know what AM and FM mean? Did you know that radio played a significant role in both world wars? If not, this is the video for you. But before we begin, I want to give a warm welcome to anyone who's new to my channel. Here at From Laura's Perspective, I post a new video essay on a different topic every week, and I've got something for everybody. But today, I'm just going to share 7 things you probably didn't know about radio. Our first fact involves what brings radio to us in the first place. Hence its name, radio works through the transmission and reception of radio waves or electromagnetic waves. The transmitter, usually the radio station, radiates a signal outward with an antenna. The receiver, the radio you're listening with, picks up the signal and translates it into the sounds you're hearing. To learn more about this and about how other devices on which music can be heard work, check out my recent video essay, Evolution of Music Streaming Technology. There's a link to this video in your description and also on your end screen. For our next fact, we're going to talk about Sir Guglielmo Marconi. We can thank Italian electrical engineer Guglielmo Marconi for the radio wave-based telegraph system we know today as radio. In 1895, Marconi figured out how to use radio waves to send a sound over long distances. The sound transmission technique eventually came to be employed by many people all around the world, and it still is today. Marconi is credited today as the inventor of radio, but he was far from being the one who discovered radio waves and how they work. He just figured out a way to use them to transmit sound. It was Scottish mathematician Clerk Maxwell who theorized the existence of radio waves, and German physicist Heinrich Hertz who proved their existence in a lab in 1887, 12 years before Marconi invented the radio. So what's the difference between AM and FM radio? On any radio, you have 2 options, both of which have many stations on them, AM and FM. AM means amplitude modulation, and FM means frequency modulation. But what exactly do those 2 terms mean? Well, in both acronyms, modulation means changing. In AM and FM respectively, the amplitude and frequency are what is changed between the stations. Amplitude refers to the strength of the signal, which depends on the height of the radio waves. Frequency refers to the speed of the signal, which depends on the space between the waves. When listening to AM radio, the station number refers to the number of kilohertz, which are wave cycles, or number of waves per second at which the signal is being broadcast. In FM radio, the station number refers to this in terms of megahertz. So what does the Eiffel Tower have to do with radio? The Eiffel Tower is one of the most notable landmarks in France today. But did you know that it almost only lasted for 20 years? Well, we can thank radio for the fact that it's still up today. I'll get more into this in the next section, but for now I'll just say that it played a pretty big role in intercepting crucial military transmissions during World War I. Apart from that, the Eiffel Tower is also notable for being the location of the first radio broadcast by scientists. In fact, it was during this broadcast that Lee DeForest became the first DJ when he and his peers broadcasted a selection of music to the suburbs of Paris. The 5th fact I'm going to share with you today is that radio was actually pretty important in World War I and World War II. You know how I just said that the only reason the Eiffel Tower stayed up for more than 20 years was because it helped with the interception of military transmissions during World War I? Although radio technology was still in its infancy when the war started, troops on all sides of the war utilized it. Although radios were heavy to carry and didn't have a very wide range, soldiers used them in any way they could to communicate with each other whenever separated for any reason. In fact, seeing the effect this had, President Woodrow Wilson issued an executive order in 1914 allowing the Navy to censor international telegrams sent or received via radio. By the time the world went to war a second time, radio technology advanced and radios themselves became smaller and easier to carry, allowing radio to play a bigger role this time around. In addition to handheld use by U.S. soldiers on the ground, radios were now an integral part of airplane, submarine, and tank communications. Transmissions went greater distances and were more reliable, and soon became a staple of the war effort. Unfortunately, radio has cost us many of our bird friends. I know it's a dark one, but it's true. Every year, millions of birds fly right into radio antennas in poor visibility, and their frequency kills them. There's actually a name for this phenomenon, and it's tower kill. Some radio stations have taken the initiative to light up their antennas at night so birds can see them more easily, making them less likely to fly into them. This has helped reduce the rate of these birds' deaths, but they're still happening. Even as music streaming technology advances and apps like Spotify and Pandora become more popular, radio is still alive and well. Statistics have actually found that 241 million American adults listen to the radio each week. Moreover, 70% of Americans spend around 2 hours and 40 minutes a day listening to the radio. With how advanced modern technology is, you can even listen to radio online or on your phone. In fact, 17% of cell phone owners listen to it from a cell phone connected to a car stereo or Bluetooth speaker. Today, there are over 14,000 radio stations operating in the United States, which come in approximately 60 different formats. Thank you all so much for watching. If you yourself are a radio listener, avid or otherwise, you hopefully learned something valuable about that technology today. If that's you, do you listen to radio online, in the car, or with the radio you have on your home? What kinds of stations do you listen to? Let me know in the comments down below. If you liked what you saw today, check out some of the links on your screen for even more. You can also see content of mine beyond YouTube by following me on Instagram and TikTok, which I've included links to in the description. If this was your first time here at my channel, I hope I've made you feel welcome here at my video essay library and that you're considering getting your own library card by subscribing.